Bonjour and bienvenue. Je m'appelle Ryan McKern. And thank you again for joining me in the Wicked Webs We Weave podcast. At the time of this recording, it's a new year. 2026 is upon us. And in New Orleans, it's time for Mardi Gras, a carnival experience celebration. The spirits and energy here remind me once more of the power, mystique, life, and legend that is Marie Laveau, the Vodou Queen of New Orleans. I've done a special previously about Marie, and tonight in this episode we will go more into the history and background of one of the most powerful and influential figures in history. Cheers to the new year. May you all be blessed. I wish you good fortune and health, abundance. Sit back and dwell in the proverbial darkness. And thank you again for joining me in the Wicked Webs We Weave. Following information is Britannica.com. Marie Laveau, born in 1801, New Orleans, Louisiana, died on June 15th, 1881. Marie Laveau was the Vodou Queen of New Orleans. Laveau's powers reportedly included healing the sick, extending illustrious gifts to the poor, and overseeing spiritual rites. Many mysteries surrounding, including the confusion regarding Laveau's year of birth. Some documents indicate that she was born in 1794, while other research also states that it's 1801 as the years of her birth. She's said to have been born to an African woman named Marguerite d'Arcantin, and to the man Charles Laveau. Marie Laveau married a Creole man from Saint-Domingo, now in Haiti, named Jacques Perry, who reportedly disappeared and was later reported dead. Upon his disappearance, Laveau began referring to herself as the Widow Paris. After the reported death of her husband, Laveau started a relationship with Jean-Louis Christophe Dominique de Gilmont. Together they had several children, some of whom were victims of the various yellow fever outbreaks that plagued New Orleans due to the city's poor drainage system. Although Laveau was a committed mother and wife, much of her priority in caretaking was extended to her spiritual children and the general community. Laveau became a hairdresser to create economic stability for herself and her family. Through interaction with her black clients or house servants, she was exposed to a personal transformation about her wealthy white clients who often sought her continued counsel. Laveau used the information to give informed counsel, and the people who sought advice from her concerning her personal affairs, many wealthy, politically affluent individuals, both white and black, paid Laveau for personal advice, intervention, and in some situation protected against any evil energy that might have been placed among them. Vodou Queen of New Orleans, a bright light of hope and spirituality, has influenced and touched more people than perhaps the public knows. It can seem that very little can be accurately stated about her. But what can be said with certainty is that she was a woman that defined standards placed upon her by society. Laveau was a free person of color in a slave society. Laveau was a successful woman in a patriarchal society. Laveau held and continued African religious practices in a white Catholic world. Laveau was a daughter, mother, grandmother, healer, counselor, nurse, and friend. The International Shrine of Marie Laveau at the New Orleans Healing Center. For immediate contact, please contact Sally Ann Glassman. Information will be provided in the description of this video. For those listening on Spotify, you can email an inquiry at nohcfestival@neworleanshealingcenter.org or visit neworleanshealingcenter.org. For a press conference, dedication and blessing ceremony at the New Orleans Sacred Music Festival, Saturday, March 14th, in 2015 at 8 p.m. Speakers Carolyn Morrow Long, author of A New Orleans Voodoo Priestess, The Legend and Reality of Marie Laveau, and Dr. Martha Ward, author of Vodou Queen, The Spirited Lives of Marie Laveau. Took place in the New Orleans Healing Center at 2372 St. Claude Avenue in New Orleans, Louisiana. The International Shrine of Marie Laveau is a living, spiritual, and artistic project within the New Orleans Healing Center. It centers around the statue of Marie Laveau, created for the International Shrine so that as the community, pilgrims, and visitors will have an appropriate site to leave offerings and conduct prayers. Marie Laveau is the heart of New Orleans history and culture, the most famous voodoo queen of all time, a devout Catholic, advocate for African American freedom and rights, and powerful spiritual and social leader. She is New Orleans' most famous and revered resident, drawing thousands of visitors to her tomb each year, making it the second most viewed in the U.S. In December 2013, the tomb was damaged with pink latex paint, resulting dramatically reduced access. The International Shrine of Marie Laveau will provide a new virtue and venue for visitors in the local community to celebrate, connect, and visit with Marie Laveau. With the vision statement, a living, growing shrine, the statue of Marie Laveau, created by Ricky Costignano for St. John's Eve celebration at Bayou St. John, a tradition kept alive by a modern congregation, was a gift by the artist to create the centerpiece of the shrine. Cara Costignano is an amazing local artist. Eventually, the International Shrine will include mosaics created by a leading local artist, inspired by the Esoquedaria Salon mosaic tile stairway in the Rio de Janeiro, featuring standing church candelabras and the dramatic framework of organza. The shrine will be a living, growing cultural phenomenon as people contribute offerings and works of art. The expression of New Orleans' social history and living cultural traditions will be complemented by will plaques, written by leading academics on Marie Laveau and her New Orleans. Merci beaucoup. Marie Laveau is highly praised in the voodoo world and beyond as a force of balance, peace, love, and everything cosmic in the universe. It is said that Marie Laveau was a devout Catholic throughout her life. 6 days after her birth, Marie Antoine baptized Laveau at St. Louis Cathedral. The baptismal record labeled Laveau Mulatrice, meaning she had African and European ancestry. Charles Laveau was not listed as Marie Laveau's father baptism certificate, likely because he and Marguerite were not married at the time of Marie Laveau's birth. The letter claimed Marie Laveau as a natural heir in the will, with the ties to spiritualism of voodoo, and many things beyond. While Marie Laveau worshipped St. Catholic Mass at St. Louis Cathedral, she likely practiced voodoo at Congo Square. While no official documents place Laveau at Congo Square, many eyewitness accounts reported seeing her there. Congo Square is an important site of spirituality in New Orleans and has become associated with Marie Laveau throughout the years. Congo Square is located in Louis Armstrong Park, at the corner of North Rampart and St. Peter Street. For much of its history, Congo Square was not much but a field. Its earliest use was as a public market space where people could sell wares or services. Enslaved Africans during the French colonial era were exempt from work on Sundays, as codified in the Code Noir. On Sundays, enslaved people would participate in the market to gain personal money. It was in this meeting that the Africans and Afro-Creoles began to dance and perform their African culture, drawing the ever-curious eyes of Europeans and Americans. While no official records place Marie Laveau at Congo Square, it is very likely she has been there numerous times throughout her life. Catherine Henry, Laveau's grandmother, earned money as a merchant and probably frequented the markets at Congo Square with her young granddaughter in tow. Numerous WPA interviewees discuss Marie Laveau's role in leading Congo Square dances on Sunday afternoons. One interview stated, "She come walking into Congo Square with her head up in the air like a queen. Her skirt swished, and she walked and everybody stepped back and let her pass. All the people white and colored start saying that she's the most powerful woman, they say. There goes Marie Laveau." All the resources for this information that I'm using in this episode will be listed in the description, because it seems that no matter how much research we do, we'll never truly know the truth about the birth, the death, the gravesite, and perhaps some of the other details. But we can feel it in our hearts how important the story is to be told. So I wanted to include many perspectives. That being said, let's continue with the episode. Another interviewee stated, "Sometimes the police tried to keep Marie Laveau out, but she just hypnotized them and walked in. She could do that to anybody that got in her way. I've seen her make police get down and bark like dogs." But whether or not Marie Laveau led dances at Congo Square, the specific square would have held great importance from her. One block away is her home. She would have heard the drums dancing in the Congo Square, and she was not already there. As the leader of the voodoo community in New Orleans, Congo Square would still have held immense importance to Laveau, as this area was where the enslaved people and free people of color could unapologetically celebrate their African heritage, even if just for a few hours, in a society where enslavers purposely repress the ethnic and religious heritage of enslaved people. Congo Square was where many people learned about their African roots. St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 on Basin Street, once inside the city limits, is the oldest existing cemetery in New Orleans. Towering above ground tombs remind visitors of New Orleans' high water table and French heritage. It is in the cemetery that is believed, and so it is said used to be, the ending of prayers at the end of Louisiana French and French Creole prayers. Ayen so, similar to Amen in English. Aye Bobo is a ritualistic work in the OE language, and is used in Haitian voodoo at the end of the prayer, similar to Amen in English. St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 is one of many locations said to be the final resting place of Marie. St. Louis 2, Lafayette Cemetery, and others have been stated throughout time. Thank you so much again for joining me in the Wicked Webs We Weave. I hope everyone has a happy new year. Please check the description for a list of references used in the research of making this video. Aye Bobo, and until we see each other again, au revoir.
I'm Sally Ann Glassman. I'm a Mambo, a priestess of Haitian Vodou, and we're standing in the lobby of the New Orleans Healing Center at the bare bones of the International Shrine of Marie Laveau that we're placing together. It just kind of grew here. It started when Ricardo Pustanio, who is the float builder for the Mid-City Mardi Gras parade, decided that he wanted to make a statue that would be more religious, and instead of his usual Mardi Gras props, which are all beautiful, but he made this fabulous Marie Laveau sculpture and gave it to me for St. John's Eve when we hold ceremonies out on Bayou St. John in honor of Marie Laveau. We go out on Bayou St. John on the 23rd of June. That's St. John's Eve, and Marie herself held massive ceremonies on St. John's Eve. It's a very holy night for voodoo practitioners, and supposedly in her day tens of thousands of people went out to participate in those ceremonies.
Wow.
And it's big, so I had to place it outside the door to my shop. I had no place else to put it for storage, and people just started bringing offerings, and they brought candles and flowers and Mardi Gras beads, and you can see there's stuff that people have brought, and simultaneously access to St. Louis No. 1, the cemetery where Marie Laveau is entombed, shut down access to the tomb because people were vandalizing it. They were making the characteristic 3 X's on her tomb, and somebody had painted it with pink latex, which was really damaging to the tomb itself. And so you can no longer go in there unless you're with a licensed tour guide, and it's restricted people's ability to be able to connect with the spirit of Marie Laveau, who is still very much present in the city.